everyone, Jenn here, and I am so excited to be here with you guys for another homework video. This homework video is to go along with our upcoming Create With Us Hocus Purr-cus. That is our next free mini class that will be hosted right here on Lawnfawn's YouTube channel. I wrote down the date on September 3rd at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If you can join us live, amazing. We love when we get to see all of you, whether you're going to craft along with us or just come for the crafty chat. But also remember, if you can't make it live, this mini class will be available to you whenever it works into your schedule. Not to mention, I think this might be our 35th Create With Us. So there are several others for you to check out over on the lawnfawn website on the Create With Us page. Hopefully you guys found the downloadable handout. That shows you guys the 2 cards that we will be creating, all of the supplies that are going to be used, and then also the prep instructions. Along with that, there are coloring guides. I'll talk about those in just a minute when I flip the camera. But this homework video, I did not like homework as a kid. I don't know about you guys, but I figure filming the homework video means we get more crafty time together, and I much rather just hang out with somebody and follow along than read the instructions. So hopefully you'll find this homework video to be helpful. Please let us know in the chat if you have any questions, and we'll make sure we answer those in the comments on this video. I said the chat because I'm already thinking we're live together crafting. Let me know if you enjoyed this homework video, and I'll continue to do them as long as they are helpful for you guys. All right, let's go ahead and flip the screen. These are the 2 cards that we're going to be creating during this free mini class, Create With Us Hocus Purr-cus. And I wanted to do a good old traditional Halloween card, super fun, some fun Halloween colors. But I also wanted to show you guys that Hocus Purr-cus set can also just be a fun, magical, or meowgical greeting for your friends or family members. So we're going to do 2 totally different occasions for these cards, and I think they are going to be a blast. If you don't necessarily make Halloween cards, you can follow this color scheme for both of your cards. That's what's great about these online classes is you guys can do whatever you would like. I'm hoping that I'm giving you a little bit of inspiration to get creating with your supplies. We also love when you substitute your supplies. So as we're getting into some of the background dies that are previously released, if you do not own those background dies, you can use something different. You could use stencils or patterned paper or another background die. Again, these are your cards. We are just hoping to give your creative juices a little starting off point, right? So let's go ahead. And I also wanted to mention, like I said, hopefully you guys found the free downloadable handout. I share which Copic markers I'm going to be using during our live. I swatch them out for you so that way if maybe you don't have the exact marker or maybe you're using another coloring medium altogether, you can see the colors here and kind of swatch your own colors from your own coloring medium. Starting last year, August 2025, I also share a Copic Olo comparison for any online class that I am offering. And I do the closest match. This is what my eyeballs are seeing. If you have something else you would like to use, that's totally okay as well. But hopefully you will find that to be helpful. Oh, and one thing I wanted to mention about this, if you do not want to use markers or colored pencils or watercolor your images, maybe you want to use the lawnfawn coloring stencils, which are awesome and super fun to use. What I would suggest to you if you wanted to use the coloring stencils is to look at my Copic chart here And you'll see for the most part, there's 2 or 3 colors per color family. And in that case, I would choose one ink pad that's a similar color. So for instance, V12 and V15, I would probably choose Lawnfawn Fresh Lavender. Then we've got a YR16, Y17, Y15, maybe pull an orange, pull a yellow. Again, whatever ink pads you guys are using, I would just pull one color from each of these color families and you will be good to go to use the coloring stencils, okay? So I do mention what ink pads we're going to be using for our backgrounds. I'm going to be using Merman, Peacock, Fish Tank, Sugar Plum, and Soot. But again, we realize there's a lot of fun supplies out there, so I swatch these out and do a little bit of a blend so you can kind of see what these colors look like, and you can shop your stash and find what works best for you. And then also in your downloadable handout, you will find my step-by-step coloring guides. You do not need to worry about those right now during homework. We will go over those during the free mini class, but those are great to print out and have on hand for future creating as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We are going to go ahead and start by stamping out our images. I'm going to be stamping out my images on the 80-pound white cardstock from Lawnfawn. This is the Nina 80-pound solar white cardstock that I love to do my alcohol marker coloring on. So that's exactly what the Lawnfawn 80-pound cardstock is. And I'm going to go ahead and take out my Hocus Purr-cus stamp set. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. So cute. If you guys don't know me, I have 2 black kitties, Gus Gus and Jack. So when I saw that this stamp set was coming out, I was beyond excited. I love doggies too, but we just don't have any dogs in our house. So I'm pretty team cat usually, but I love puppies too. I love all my neighborhood puppies. And all my friends' puppies. So far I've pulled out, we're going to use a lot of images here, but I pulled out the cat with the cauldron, the cat with the spell book, the cat with just that potion bottle. We're also going to grab the cat with the potion bottles and the books. I'm also going to grab, let's see, the circular speech bubble, the rectangular speech bubble. And then let me flip this over because it'll be probably a little bit easier for you guys to see. In this set, we've got some fun little sparkle sprinkles coming out of the potion bottles or maybe off of the wand. And then we've got just some, like, I'll call these sparkles. So I'm going to do the sparkle sprinkles. It's like the technical term of them. I'm going to do the small one and then this one that's a bit chunkier. So I'm going to grab both of those. And then I'm also going to be using the add-on set. So this is the Hocus Purr-cus add-on set. Let's see what more we can fit on this one piece of paper. I cut my cardstock to this size because I like to use my mini die cut machine when I'm doing a lot of stamping and die cutting in Lawnfawn land. I just think it's so much faster. So I'm going to grab the How to Bewitch book from the set. We're going to grab a couple other pieces from the set, but as you can see, this is all I can fit on my piece of paper. And I'm going to stamp my images with my Lawnfawn Jet Black ink. This is alcohol marker friendly. It's also watercolor friendly. So if you guys want to color with your watercolor pencils or some other watercoloring medium, you'll just want to make sure you're stamping on watercolor cardstock. But you can be using this same black ink pad. And if you've been around the past couple homework videos, you'll see I still have not re-inked my black ink pad because, you know, it's mermaid season and I'm a busy girl during mermaid season. So I'm just doing what I can get done. And re-inking ink pads is the least of my worries. So thank gosh to my stamping platform, I'm stamping a few times and I'll get a nice dark impression. All right. Then I'm going to grab another piece of that 80-pound white lawn fawn cardstock. And I'm going to grab the cluster of potions and books from the add-on and the broom. And that's all we're going to have to stamp. Pretty sure, I don't think I doubled up on anything. Sometimes we use the same image on the card, on each card, but I don't think I did that this time. I'm looking at my images as I'm putting these away. Oh, this one goes on the add-on set. I forgot to mention at the beginning, I'm also filming this in real time. So I'm not going to speed this up. So hopefully you can work right along with me. But of course, if you need to pause the video or rewind it at any time, you have the ability to do that, of course, which is really, really nice. But I like to film it in real time again, so we feel like we're working together. Part of that, though, means you get to hear my thought process about everything, which could be scary, but real life here, real life. So if you haven't already guessed, again, I know many of you guys take a lot of my online classes, but I will be using this stamp set in a self-paced Halloween class this fall. And what's fun about taking my online class together with the Create With Us class is you're going to get even more card ideas. We make 3 cards, plus I give you 2 bonus card ideas. And you'll get all new coloring guides. I color all the images differently, so you'll have even more ideas. So if you are hanging out with us during Create With Us and you did purchase this new set, I would love for you to check out the online class as well. They're only $20, not that expensive, and you'll get some really fabulous more ideas to work with the products that you have. All right, so now that we have our images all stamped, what I'm going to do next is die cut these out. So I've got my dies here on one of my lawn fawn magnetic boards, and I like to use the Spellbinders Best Ever Craft Tape. It's a low tack tape to hold my dies in place. Whenever I peel it off the roll for the first time, I stick it to my skin just to get a little bit more stick off of it. It's just kind of a precaution, so there's no chance of my paper tearing. I've really never had that problem with this tape, but I figure one extra precaution never hurts. So I'm just lining up each of these dies and placing the tape down to hold the die in place. I love this little kitty with his little wand on the spell book, granting all of the meowgical wishes that we want. Right now, my wish is that summer would be longer. Don't listen to me, Shari. You guys all know Shari, my East Coast Fawny bestie. She's the fall loving girl. I'm the summer loving girl. I live in Massachusetts on Cape Cod, and fall is beautiful here, but it just sadly reminds me that winter's coming. So it doesn't get as much love from me as it deserves, because it takes my summer away and means winter is coming. All right. All of this tape that I am using to hold my dies in place, I will reuse this tape over and 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 over again. That's what I love about this tape, is you get so many uses out of it. So a roll like this lasts me a very long time, and I do a lot of die cutting. So these little sparkle sprinkles, or whatever I was calling them earlier, it was a made up word, so now I'm forgetting what I said. But they are a little tricky to find to line up. But what I did is kind of looked for this curve and then this curve right here, because I knew that those were going to go on these swirls. And then you can kind of figure it out. Just takes a second. And then once you do it once, you're like, oh yeah, that's not so bad. This one's a little bit easier because it's got that pointy sparkle at the top. And so when we do Create With Us, these free mini classes, and when I host my online classes, we do all our die cutting before class because this takes not a ton of time. You'll see this homework video will be, I don't know, about a half hour-ish long. I obviously haven't finished it yet, so I don't know, but it won't take us too long. But in a class where we want to kind of focus on our techniques and creating our cards and glittering all of the things, it's nice to get kind of all of this work done ahead of time. But it does make it a little tricky to color these images in once they're die cut, but I'll share a trick with you guys about that in just a few minutes once we get all of these images cut. One thing I like to do as well is something like this broomstick that's really long. I typically will put another piece of tape down here because I don't want this to wiggle down here when it goes through the machine. So I just like to kind of reinforce it. And again, it's not really wasteful because I'll be using those pieces of tape over and over again. So I like the little Spellbinders Scout machine. That's their mini die cut machine. And again, when you're die cutting all of the little lawnfawn images, I just find it so much faster and easier to be able to just kind of throw this up on my table and die cut all the things. So we've got that one done. And then we'll put this one through. All right. That's it for that for now. So now I'm just going to gently take all of my images off here. We'll put my dies back. And then this tape lives either on a bin, which is off camera in a very messy area on my desk, or on my die cut machine so that I can use them again. And like I said, none of these will go to waste. And I get many, many uses out of them, which I love. And these are the images for both cards. So you'll see in your class handout, I break out the kitting per card, but I'm kind of working on both kits at the same time is kind of how my brain works. I think it's a little bit more efficient. So again, if you're following along with this homework video, you can kind of ignore the prep work in your handout. Although sometimes you guys find something I might have forgotten. But if, again, if you're going to go back to some older videos, I haven't done the homework videos for all of them. So something new, I think I started last fall. You can just follow the prep. All right, so we've got all of our images here. And like I said, this is a little tricky when we're in class to be holding on to this teeny book and coloring, right? So a trick that I learned from Mona Toth, she's on our the lawnfawn design team, is to take some low tack tape, which is this Best Ever Craft tape. I'm going to touch it to my skin, and we're going to put our stamped images onto this piece of tape. And then that way we'll have a larger piece of real estate to hold on to when we're coloring, and it makes it so much easier. And again, this piece of tape is not going to go to waste because I'll rip it into smaller pieces to hold dies into place for future projects. So I'm just kind of lining up a bunch of images. This image here I think is big enough for me to hold on to. So I'm not going to put that one on tape, but if you would like to, you most certainly can. And you do not need to necessarily put your images on the same order that I do. Although if you're going to be following along in class, I think it's a little bit easier if you do have them in the same order as me. And it's pictured on your handout as well. That way you're not kind of scrambling around to see which image I'm working on. But yeah, so now when we go to color this book, we have this whole piece to hold on to, and it just makes it so much easier. Mona shared that probably a decade ago, and I've been sharing it in my in-person and online classes ever since. I just think it is so, so nice. All right, so I'm going to set these guys aside. And then we're going to work on getting our backgrounds ready and some embellishments and some sentiment banners. Let's go ahead and start with our sentiment banners. I'm wondering if this is going to be long enough. So for our first sentiment banner, and I kind of keep all of my Lawn Fawn sentiment banners together. But for our first one, this is 1/2 inch by 4 1/4. So I just want to make sure I'm grabbing the same one, which I believe is this one right here. That's what my eyeballs are telling me. But yep, 1/2 inch by 4 1/4. So we're going to put this one on here. Again, I'm going to try to make this cardstock that I have left over work. So this is that 80-pound Lawn Fawn white cardstock. This will work perfectly. And then the other sentiment banner is this 3/8 of an inch, which I think is this one right here. I can't measure the length because I cut some of it off, but yeah, 3/8 by 4. And yay, this one's going to go right here. Again, you can see I'm using all of my previously used best ever craft tape because it is pretty much the best ever. All right. So I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. And you can see I put multiple pieces of tape because I just don't want my longer things that I'm die cutting to like wiggle at all. And I got really close. So I've got a little best ever craft tape right here. That's totally fine. This will come off and not damage my cardstock. I knew that was going to happen. I was conserving my cardstock. Who does that? I always find it very exciting. It's a fun little challenge here in the Creative Chick studio to see how many things I can get onto one piece of cardstock, right? So that's why I wanted to go really close there. All right, we're going to put these sentiment banners back. And then I'll go ahead and put them right back in here. So we're not going to stamp our sentiments just yet. We're going to do that in class. If you want to pre-do it, you can. But I'm going to set those aside, and I'll let you guys know what kit everything goes to once we get to that. Now, one thing I used on both cards here is the stitched rectangle frames. I thought these were super fun. We're going to use the largest one that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And we're going to cut it out of black sparkle cardstock, which you can get on its own, or there is a Halloween mix with some orange. And then our new amethyst sparkle cardstock. really, really pretty purple, different than our other purples that we have. So I'm in my purple era right now. I don't know why. I've been using a lot of purple since last fall. But the first thing I like to do is cut these down to be A2 panels, so 5.5 by 4.25. I just think it's easier to put them through the die cut machine, and there's less chance of wiggle. And I'll show you in a second how I do that. All right, so we've got 2 panels, 4.25 by 5.5. And what I like to do, and I'm obviously going to use my larger Spellbinders Platinum 6 machine when I go to die cut these, but what I do, and again, it depends on what machine you're using on your sandwich, but I like to put my backdrop die upright so the cutting is pointing up. And then I just take this panel and I just place it on, get it right in the center, and then I run it through my die cut machine. Now, if you're worried of it moving at all, you can take a little piece of your Best Ever craft tape, and I kind of just take it and wrap it on one end, and that's enough to keep it in place. But typically, I do not do that. I just kind of place it on and run it through. So 2 options for you. I'm not going to bring my big die cut machine on camera. So I'm off camera over here die cutting this panel. So give me 1 second. Go. All right, so we've got the centerpiece that cut out. This we're going to use for something else, and we've got our frame. And you might have like a little sliver that got cut. That's okay. It's just because we didn't cut it exactly to be 4.25 by 5.5. But the die does cut it exactly. So we're good to go. And now I'm going to go ahead and die cut the amethyst one. Okay. Again, we're going to use that inner piece for something in just a second. But now we have our 2 really pretty sparkly frames cut with our stitched rectangle frame die. Okay, so I'm going to set those aside. Now, like I said, we have these 2 pieces here. And from this, we are going to cut ourselves some sparkly stars. To do that, I am going to use the Hearts and Stars Skinny Tag die. This is a fun die because not only does it give you a really cute skinny tag to use for sentiments, but it gives you hearts and stars in 3 different sizes. I'm pulling out the stars right now. And it gives you multiples of them. So it's going to cut a bunch at once, which I love. And you'll see I kind of keep all my sparkle cardstock scraps, and then any extra bits that I've cut that I haven't used, I keep in here as well, because sometimes you just need like a couple little stars and they're already in here for you. So that's what I love about this die. So we're going to go ahead and cut ourselves 1 row of each size of stars out of each color. So I'm just kind of figuring out the width that we need because I'm not going to probably tape these in place, but I just want to cut a chunk of this sparkle cardstock off. So let me do that, and then I'll give you an idea of what size this is, because I'm just eyeballing it. So out of this center piece right here that we got from our frame, I just cut, it looks like about 1.5 inches. So it's 1.5 inches by 3 3/4. Again, this is just roughly cut from the sparkle cardstock we were just using. And I'll set these big pieces aside for another project, another day, right? So I'm going to bring in that mini die cut machine again. And I'm going to go ahead and put all 3 stars. You can see I have the die cutting upward. Okay. And then I'm going to take that sparkle cardstock and just lay it right over it. And then we're going to go ahead and put it through the die cut machine. If you want to tape it in place, you can. I find the tape, it doesn't always stick very well to the sparkle cardstock, so I kind of just go around that step. But now we have all of our little purple stars. I'm going to set those aside. And we're going to do the same thing with the black sparkle cardstock. And there's our black ones. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put my dies back. Again, there's the same 3 dies in hearts, which is super fun as well. So now we've got our purple and our black stars. And I'm actually going to bring up my own handout because I listed out what we needed. Of course, keep all of them, and maybe you're going to add more during class. That's totally fine. But for the black stars, I had said 2 large ones, 2 medium, and 3 small. Okay. And then all of these extra stars, which I know is hard to see, but you can see all these extra stars and this extra sparkle cardstock, I'm going to just keep right in here for another project, another day. And then for the purple stars, I had said 1 large star, 1 medium star, and 3 small stars. And again, keep all of them on hand if you want. You might have so much fun using them in class, and you might want to add some more. But I'm going to put my extra ones right in here for another project, another day. Now, I like to, when I'm making my kits, I use clear bags that I use to protect my cards once they're made. These are just from clearbags.com. This item number is B54PC. And I just will start to put bits from my kits in these as well. And then when the cards are complete, again, I'll be able to put them in the same bag. So I'm going to put my purple stars in one bag so I don't lose them. And then I'm going to put the purple frame in there as well. And then in our other bag, I'm going to put the black frame and the black stars. And then we'll work on our other backgrounds. There we go. All right, for one of our backgrounds, we are going to use some of the new lawnfawn lavender cardstock. It's a really subtle purple cardstock. It's really pretty. And so I'm going to cut this down to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then from this background, we are going to use the Stitched Windy backdrop. This is an older, previously released backdrop, but it's really fun. And so I'm going to go ahead and die cut this on my machine, just like I showed you that I did the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 frames. I'm just laying that cardstock right on top of the die, and I'm running it through. Of course, if you want to hold your paper in place on your die with some of that best ever craft tape, you can do that as well. And I'm going to grab my pick up pokey tool just to poke this corner, just to kind of get it started. The stitching loves to grab onto the cardstock, so I just kind of wiggle the pokey tool under there just to get it started, and then you're able to peel this off. Okay. And this backdrop, we can go ahead and add in with our black frame and our black stars. Okay. And then we are going to grab a piece of white cardstock that you like to ink blend on. My favorite is the Distress White Heavy Stock, not to be confused with the Distress Watercolor cardstock. Lawnfawn does stock this in their online store. It's my most favorite to ink blend on. It's a nice, smooth white, bright white cardstock. It's 130 pound, really, really nice paper that takes to the inks really well. So I'm just going to cut myself a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 panel. And I am not going to die cut this yet. I want to do the ink blending in class with you guys. During class, after we get the ink blending done, I am going to use this snowy backdrop die. I think it is so fun, and I think the stars and the little dots match the potions so perfectly. So even though it's called snowy backdrop, we're going to get another use out of it, which I love to do that. But again, we're not going to die cut it just yet. I find ink blending it first is going to give us a nice smooth blend, and then we will die cut it during class. All right. We're almost done here. The last thing I want to do is make sure we put the right sentiment banners into our right kits. So the skinnier sentiment banner is going to go into our purple framed kit, and the wider sentiment banner is going to go into our black framed kit. And then what I'm going to do with my stamped images that I have on the tape, I actually just take that tape and just kind of fold it into a couple pieces or a couple folds, just like that. It's not super sticky, so nothing bad's going to happen. And I'm just going to stick all of my stamped images into one of my kits, so they are protected and ready for class. And that's it. That's the homework prep for our Create With Us Hocus Purr-cus. Look at that. We did it in under 40 minutes, and it was way more fun doing it with friends. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, if you have any questions, if you have any questions, you can leave a comment right here on the video and we'll do our best to answer it. But you also can reach out to me directly at creative-chick@shirkus.com, and I would be happy to answer any questions for you. Remember, you do not need to use all of the exactly same supplies as we are using. Shop your stash. One of the most amazing things about Lawnfawn is everything mixes and mingles really, really well together. So if you want to bring out another supply that was previously released, we love that. We love to see that you're using your stash, dusting off those supplies, and making some wicked cute cards. I can't wait for this Create With Us together. I'm looking up the date again. It's September 3rd at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I should say 2026, because again, we have about over 30 of these Create With Us mini classes, and I'm not quite sure what year you're watching this homework video, and it doesn't matter because we would still love to see your cards when you're all done. All right, you guys, I look forward to seeing you in the live chat or on replay. And again, I hope to see you in an online class through my website as well. I have so many really, really fun lawn fawn classes waiting to inspire you. Have an amazing day, you guys. Bye.